The wedding at Cana. Jesus turns water into wine. The miracle of Jesus turning water into wine is one of the most well-known and significant miracles in the New Testament. It is recorded in John 2:1-11 and marks the first miracle performed by Jesus in his public ministry. This event took place at a wedding in Cana, a small village in Galilee, and holds deep spiritual and theological meaning. The story not only demonstrates Jesus' divine power, but also symbolizes transformation, joy, and the beginning of his ministry. The setting, a wedding in Cana. Jesus, his disciples, and his mother Mary were attending a wedding feast in Cana. In ancient Jewish culture, weddings were grand celebrations that could last for several days, sometimes up to a week. They were significant social events, and families took great care in providing enough food and wine for their guests. Running out of wine at such a gathering would have been a great embarrassment for the hosts and could have damaged their reputation in the community. At some point during the wedding, Mary noticed that the wine had run out. Understanding the cultural implications of this, she approached Jesus and informed him of the situation. Her statement was simple, yet filled with expectation. "They have no wine," John 2:3. Though she did not explicitly ask Jesus to perform a miracle, her words implied that she believed he could do something too. Jesus' response to Mary. Jesus' reply to his mother was intriguing. "Woman, what does this have to do with me? My hour has not yet come." John 2:4. At first glance, this response might seem dismissive, but in biblical context, woman was not a term of disrespect. Instead, it was a formal way of addressing someone. Jesus' statement about his hour refers to his future suffering, death, and resurrection, which had not yet come. He was indicating that his mission was not about simply performing miracles, but about fulfilling God's plan for salvation. Despite Jesus' response, Mary remained confident that he would act. She turned to the servants and instructed them, "Do whatever he tells you." John 2:5. This demonstrates Mary's faith in Jesus and sets an example of obedience. Even when we do not fully understand God's timing, we are called to trust in him. The miracle. Water into wine. Nearby, there were 6 stone water jars, each capable of holding 20 to 30 gallons. These jars were used for Jewish purification rituals, meaning they were filled with water that was intended for ceremonial washing. Jesus told the servants. The servants obeyed and filled the jars to the brim. Then Jesus instructed them, "Now draw some out and take it to the master of the feast." John 2:8. The master of the feast, the person in charge of overseeing the wedding banquet, tasted the liquid and was amazed. He had no idea where it had come from, but he turned to the bridegroom and said, "Everyone serves the good wine first, and when people have drunk freely, then the poor wine. But you have kept the good wine until now." John 2:10. The water had miraculously transformed into wine, and not just any wine. It was of the highest quality. The fact that the master of the feast was impressed indicates that Jesus did not simply create wine. He created the best wine. The symbolism of the miracle. This miracle is rich in symbolism and theological significance. 1. Transformation and renewal. The transformation of water into wine symbolizes the transformative power of Jesus. Just as he changed the nature of the water, he has the power to change lives, taking something ordinary and making it extraordinary. 2. Abundance and blessing. Jesus did not merely provide wine. He provided an abundance of it. With 6 jars holding up to 180 gallons, the newlyweds and their guests would have more than enough. This reflects God's generosity and willingness to provide, more than we can ask or imagine. 3. The New Covenant. The stone water jars used for Jewish purification rituals symbolize the Old Covenant, based on the law. By turning the water into wine, Jesus symbolized the coming of the New Covenant, where salvation is found in him rather than in religious rituals. Later, at the Last Supper, Jesus would use wine to represent his blood, shed for the forgiveness of sins. 4. Joy and celebration. Wine in the Bible is often associated with joy and celebration. This miracle took place at a wedding, a time of great happiness. illustrating how Jesus came to bring joy and life in abundance. See John 10:10. The impact of the miracle. This miracle was significant, not just because of what it accomplished, but because of how it revealed Jesus' glory. John 2:11 states, "This, the first of his signs, Jesus did at Cana in Galilee and manifested his glory, and his disciples believed in him." The impact of the miracle. This miracle was significant, not just because of what it accomplished, but because of how it revealed Jesus' glory. John 2:11 states, "This, the first of his signs, Jesus did at Cana in Galilee and manifested his glory, and his disciples believed in him." 1. Strengthening the faith of his disciples. This was the first recorded miracle of Jesus, and it had a profound impact on his disciples, though they had already chosen to follow him. This sign helped confirm their belief in his divine nature. 2. Revealing his divine power. The transformation of water into wine was not a public spectacle, but a quiet demonstration of Jesus' power. Only the servants, Mary, and the disciples were aware of what had happened, showing that Jesus was not seeking attention, but revealing his divine identity in a meaningful way. Lessons from the wedding at Cana. This story offers several spiritual lessons. 1. God's timing is perfect. Jesus told Mary that his hour had not yet come, yet he still acted in response to the need. Often, we want God to act immediately, but he knows the perfect time for everything. 2. Obedience leads to miracles. The servants obeyed Jesus' instructions even though they may not have understood why. Their obedience led to a miracle. This teaches us to trust and obey God, even when his commands do not seem logical. 3. Jesus cares about every aspect of our lives. Some might think that running out of wine at a wedding is a minor issue, but Jesus cared enough to intervene. This shows that he is concerned with both our big and small needs. 4. True joy is found in Jesus. The wedding celebration represents joy, and the wine represents the blessings of God. True, lasting joy is found in Christ, and he provides abundantly. Conclusion. The story of Jesus turning water into wine at the wedding in Cana is more than just a display of divine power. It is a sign of who Jesus is and what he came to do. It reveals his compassion, power, and the new life he brings. Through this miracle, we see that Jesus is not only able to meet our needs, but also to exceed our expectations. He transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary, just as he transforms our lives when we place our faith in him. This first miracle set the stage for Jesus' ministry, showing that he came to bring joy, transformation, and the fullness of life.